Can you able to see the screen?
Yeah, good. I'm able to see.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any doubts on the last class we discussed?
No, Venkat.
No.
Okay. So on the last class we have a one pending function, a string split quoted. We'll start with it. Okay. So I have one value on the file. So the value is 1 lakh rupees. 0.00. So now the value is changing or it's still same? Still the value is same. Still it's 1 lakh rupees. So if I'm putting it like this, still the value is same. So on three of these cases the values are same. So it can be represented in any of the format, still the value is same. So but let's say here field 1 is coming, comma, field 2 and field 3 values are coming it. So in such a case, whatever the field 1 value, let's say I have it ABC, and field 2 value I have it 1 lakh, and field 3 XYZ I have it. So in this case I don't have any problem to use any of the function. So if you're expecting the field 2 value, there is no difficulty in getting this. But if the field 2 value is having like this, still there is no problem. But if the field 2 value is given in this way, so in this case what is a function you will use it to extract the field 2? So let's say there is no field 1, field 2, field 3, completely it's a field, or there is only one field which contains all this information, but you need to extract this value. So for whatever you know on that, what is the function you will be using it?
Substring.
Pardon?
Substring.
Can you tell me
String
how
substring.
you are going to use a substring here?
String substring of total field,
Okay.
comma, from which part we are using. For example, 4 ABC. So 4, from 4 onwards I want it. So I will count how many characters are there.
So string underscore
I
substring
will give.
of in dot field. So let's say this complete value is present in dot field. So you will be giving in dot field, comma,
Yeah.
4 you are giving. What is
ABC.
a second value?
Quotes also.
Pardon?
So you are giving codes also, right? Codes also there, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay.
From 8 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11.
Okay. So if I have like one more zero here, so will you change the code again or else?
Okay.
Here
No.
the field, the first field is like this. Will you change the code again?
Mm-hmm. No.
There is one direct function, right?
Can we use string filter?
String filter. What do you want to filter out here?
Oh yeah, we cannot use that.
Based on these values, yes, we can even use string filter, but still a wrong values will come. So in such a case, let's say here I have 1, 2, 3. Then in such a case, also I will get, even though if I don't have 1, 2, 3 also, you will get 1 and 8 zeros you will get it. So you will be confused how many zeros you have to take it.
Yeah.
Mm, Is there any other function other
String
than
split.
string, substring and
String split.
filter? Pardon?
String split will give vector forms.
Okay. So what is the
Like
split value here?
uh, that's what if you give comma, then inside the string as well commas are there.
Okay. So what are the elements you will be getting? First one is A, B, C, D, E, F, right?
ABCD.
And
Yeah,
what is the second element you will be getting?
I think one will get.
1. Okay.
Yeah,
Then
then 0, 0,
0, 0.
0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.00, XYZ.
X, Y, Z. Absolutely right. And this is what the result you will get if you are using a string split function. But the whole value whatever here it is getting into 4 elements should be getting into 1 element. So in such a case, like whatever the split value, whatever the split you are considering it is part of the data. Then in such a case, to avoid that, we have to use string split quoted. So if you are using a string split, this is the result you will be getting. But if you are using a string split quoted, then one, so this is how the result you will get it. String split quoted means. So now how will you take it this value from the vector? So this is a constant. How many fields you will be having it? This is a constant. Let's say all the time it's 3 elements only you will be having it. So now how will you take it this element? So now you identify that using string split we will not get the correct result, so we have to go for string split quotage. So whenever there is a split value is part of the data, then definitely we have to use a string split quotage and your data should be represented within the quotes in such a case. So then only it works and produces this kind of the results in the elements. So to extract the element, this element, you have to write like in it quoted off in dot field comma, and comma is a delimiter or a separator or a split value for us. So by doing this function we will be getting this result. So on this vector I want a specific element. So in such a case always the vector starts with 0, 1 and 2 and 3 and so on. So I want the second element. So I want the first element, sorry. So it should be like, so to get the element in the vector you have to define like this, array of the element number. So now it will return 1 comma 0 0 comma 0 0. So this value you got it finally. So can you tell me, like, on this value I want to just extract, I need to get it only this value, sorry, with another one more zero, like only 10 lakhs I need to get it. I should not get commas and point zero zero. How will you do this now? So with this you got that value. So on top of this what I'm expecting is it should be only like this value I want it. So which functions you will use to get this value, can you tell me?
For the existing one, right?
Yes, yeah.
We can go for string replace of comma with nothing.
Okay,
Right. And substring to remove last three characters.
no, if you know the size of the string then only we have to go for substring. Here at any cost we will not be knowing. So this time I got 10 lakhs, next time I will be getting crore or 100 or 1000. So this value I cannot predict it. So yes, one is right. A comma can be replaced with null. Then what exactly you want it on this total string? Tell me.
Mm, I just want to remove commas. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need to remove last three characters, last three decimals.
Okay. So is there any identifier that can be used?
Okay, string split we can use after that
Okay. What is the value?
with the dot.
Yes.
Dot I can give, and I can take first 0,
Yes, exactly.
array of 0.
So whatever the value it has returned. So if I'm using this till this function, this is a value I'll be getting it. So on top of this I just wanted to get only this value. So again we can divide it into two elements using string split. String split of this complete as a first argument, it will be comma, the split will be now dot, so that I will get again a vector with the 0th element this one and the first element will be this one. I don't want these values at all, even dot also I don't require. So I'm very much concentrate on the 0th element. So you extract only the 0th element. So now we will be getting only this value. So here I need to replace the comma with nothing. String underscore replace. Again, totally you send it as a first argument, comma. What is the replace value? Comma is a replace and with nothing. So that is how you are ignoring the commas again. So this is the final value for you. You got it? How to use
Yeah.
nested functions. So far we discussed it, individual functions, what a string replace will do and what is a string split will do and substring will do. So now have discussed like how can we use for one of the requirement with the nested of the functions. Is it clear? Any doubts on this?
And Venkat,
Yeah.
yeah, before using this string split quoted, we
Okay.
need to add quotes to each field, right?
Pardon?
We need to add quotes to each field, right? Before using this string split quoted.
No, 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 no. The data coming from the file itself will be with codes. So you no need to bother about that. But if the data is not coming it's a mistake from the file which the client is shared. So we have to notify to the client in such a case. It's there.
What if the database data?
In database we will not be getting it. But if you're getting it,
Oh,
definitely it will not be coming multiple fields into one field like this. You will be getting this as
mhm.
a field to separately. Then you no need to use
Oh,
even string split quoted also. Directly you can use from this because you will be getting the value this one from the database.
mm, mm.
The database never will
Yeah,
store
sometimes
a
what will
decimal
happen, na?
values with commas.
Yeah. While picking from the database, we will use a delimiter as a /001. After that, I'm converting those delimited to comma because I just want to make it to file with comma separated file.
Okay.
In that case, if there is any data inside the field, I mean, if there is any comma inside the field, in that case, my graph was failing, right?
Repeat once again.
No, while picking up the data from the database, I will use the delimiter as /001.
Okay.
That is default delimiter.
Okay.
After that, my intention is to convert those database data to file, load into one file with
Okay.
comma separated file.
Okay.
In that case, well, I will replace that delimiter of 001 with comma.
Okay.
In this case, if there is any field has comma inside that field data, then
Okay.
in that case, graph will fail, right?
No, after reading the data from the database, you will be having the value
Hmm.
specific to each of the fields, right? So this complete
Yeah, yeah.
value will be
So
fitted
now
into
I'm
one of the
going to, yeah, yeah. After that, I'm going to join with some other data. I mean,
fields. So
some
in
other
such a
flow.
case, you have to make it into codes. Otherwise,
Yeah, that's what.
you cannot directly put this exact highlighted value into one field. In such a case, it will treat it as multiple fields. So in such a case,
Yeah.
you have to place it in this. That is like a reverse case.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Is it clear, Ravali? Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I mean it's okay, it's good.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. We'll start with lookup functions. We already seen the lookup functions how to use that lookup files and what kind of a functions we have to write to access the values from the lookup. Like the function name is a lookup, and if it is a multi-file lookup, the function name could be used as lookup underscore local. So similarly, we have another two functions. It's just an alias for the above two. Lookup first is an alias for the lookup, because by default if we do lookup also, it will going to return the first matched value specific to the key whatever we have sent it in the lookup file. And similarly we have the lookup first also, and lookup first local is alias for the lookup local. And we have a function called lookup lost and lookup lost local. Lookup match and lookup next and lookup next local. Lookup previous, lookup previous local, lookup and lookup and local. These are the functions we will be discussing it, and most of the cases we will be using only these functions. And we have like one more function called lookup count as well. Okay, so to use a lookup, let's say I have a lookup file, one of the lookup file, and the name of the lookup file is dpt, and the fields I have all like department number, department name, and location are the fields. And what is another thing we need to specify? So we need to specify the key field. That is, let's say department number is my key field. So to do the lookup operation, we have to use a lookup function. Lookup of the first argument will be the name of the lookup, that is a dpt, and the second argument will be the value we need to send it. So the value can be sent it from the input file also, in dot field name. So this in dot field name should, the values from this in dot field should match the values that are part of the key parameter. That is how the join operation will be performed, and it is going to get a result. So what value you want to get it? Let's say I want to get it a d name. So this is how you can extract. If you're not specifying a dot notation with the field names, then the complete structure of the lookup file will be returned. And in such a case, we have to make sure that whatever the variable we have used it to do the lookup operations should hold the structure of the lookup file. So this we already discussed as part of the lookup file example. And similarly, if your lookup file is a multi-file, the same function can be written with underscore local. So this gives a better performance when compared with the lookup function. So if it is a multi-file, better use a lookup local instead of a lookup function, so which gives a performance. And the concept is so similar. If you want to extract a specific field, you can place it over here, or else you can ignore it, and it returns the complete the structure of the lookup file. So this is clear, right, which we already discussed? Or any doubts on this to be discussed still?
No.
You, Ravali?
No, Venkat.
Okay. And by default, you will be getting a first value from the lookup. So whether you use a lookup or from the lookup local, or you will be using lookup first or lookup first local, both are same. The above two functions and these two functions will return the same result. You can use any functions. But if you're expecting the lost value, so here let's say I have 10th department multiple times. Let me put the data here for you. 10 department number, department name ABC, XYZ. Okay. And so for this, whatever you have done, let's say everything we'll discuss for 10th department. So if my input value is in dot field is equal to the 10th department, so and here we are extracting department name. So in all the cases, ABC will come. And if you're expecting the lost value in the each of the lookup, whatever you are doing a lookup, then you have to use lookup lost and lookup lost local. So what is the last value we have it particular to the department number 10? So what value you are going to get it here for the department name? It is,
PQR.
yes, exactly,
PQ.
PQO. And lookup match. So lookup match is like something in the condition you will be placing it. So if there is a value for which is matching for this particular key value or not, you want to just check it. If there is a particular value matching, then you have to do some operation. Otherwise you have to do a lookup operation on some other lookup file. In such kind of the statements, to perform it, you have to use lookup match just to check whether the value is there or not. Here you're not extracting anything in the lookup match. So it will be returning true or false kind of the statements. So here we have a particular department number 10. So it will be giving 1 for you because it's true. Let's say I'm sending it, we have only 10, 20 and 30 departments, but if I'm sending it as a 50th department, in such a case the value will be 0. It just returns a true or false kind of the statements. And we have like lookup next. Next lookup. So here we no need to specify the file name of the lookup. Just sorry, not this. You no need to specify the field name. just this is enough. So why this is just enough, can you tell me? And yeah, so
What
why
was your
don't we,
question, Venkat?
yeah, why don't we require, see everywhere if you see, along with the lookup file name, we were passing the field value which will match it. But why don't we require the field name here? Directly we are passing only the lookup file name. Why don't we require it? And the next functions also similar to this. Lookup previous. There also we don't require it. Again, same reason. Can you tell me why we don't require it for these functions?
No, Venkat, no idea.
Pardon?
I don't have any idea on this.
Okay, okay.
Not getting.
Okay. So the name it says that lookup next means already we have done one lookup. So now we are trying to find the next value in that lookup whichever the key has already matched. So let's say here you already performed lookup of. So here you got ABC and you want to perform the next lookup for the same key. So in such a case, lookup next will be done on the file, whichever the file you wanted to do. So that name you have to specify it. In such a case, you will be getting XYZ, because already once we perform the lookup and we know what value with the key it has got matched it. So that is the reason we don't require it, again the key to specify it. And let's say now we are at XYZ. So lookup previous again returns the previous to this value. And let's say once again now we are at XYZ and once again we have done lookup next. Then it returns PQR. And here also it returns PQR. So what if you again if I do a lookup next? We have three elements. So first time whenever I have done a lookup, it has written ABC. So then twice I have done lookup next. So the first time when I have done lookup next, it has written XYZ, and second time when I do lookup next, it written PQR. So let's say now again once again I am doing a lookup next. So what value it is going to return?
Nothing. It's not there.
Null
Nothing is.
value?
Yes, exactly. It gives a null value, because already all the elements particular to that key has already been completed. After completion of all the records particular to that key also, if we are doing a lookup next, then it returns a null values. So now we are at the last position. If I do a lookup previous, what is the value you are going to get it? Let's say we are at
XYZ.
PQR. So I am doing a lookup previous. What is the value?
XYZ.
Yes. Now once again, if I do lookup previous,
Yeah, BC.
ABC. So again, once again,
null.
So again same thing. So you will get a null value because already we reached it. So this is the first and this is the last. From the first you can do lookup next, and from the last you can do lookup previous. So till first and the last you can do this lookup previous and the lookup next. But once it reaches to the last or the first, depends on the operation. If you are still performing the lookup previous or the next, you will get a null values. So is it clear what kind of the values you will be getting when? Is it clear?
Yeah, Venkat.
Yes, Venkat.
Okay. So here I have one question. So in such a case, how will you identify that how many times you have to do lookup next or the lookup previous? Let's say you have done a lookup and now you have to do lookup next. How many times you have to do? Otherwise you have done lookup last and now you have to do lookup previous. And still how many times you have to do that? How will you get that?
We can go with lookup count. We can find how many times, I mean, that was repeated, kind of things.
Okay, so using lookup count, you will what you will get it?
Means how many, I mean, how many rows are there with that particular key?
Oh, yes, okay.
Then accordingly, I can a loop or something I can do.
Yes, exactly. So, and one more check what we do is, before going for this loop, we will just check there is a matching value or not for that particular key. If there is a matching value in the if condition, we will place this one. If there is a matching value, then once that gets satisfied, we will be using a lookup count. So once that matching value has been satisfied, we will be using a lookup count to get in dot field, so that it returns the count of that matching value. So once you get the count into a variable, then you can use in the variable for loop or any loop you can use it with starting with 0, and if you are using automatically, the loop gets incremented till the value it has been returned by the lookup count function. So in all those cases you can call the lookup next. Coming to the end, so you want to pick up the particular value or the particular record you have to pick up. Let's say I want to get a second value, and here also before using this lookup end, at least once you have to do a lookup function or the lookup count function. If these functions are get executed, then only you can execute the lookup nth. Similarly, how you have to do for lookup next and previous, how you are doing it. After execution of these functions, only any of these functions only you can try to execute this. Otherwise, if you're directly executing these functions, it will not be identified because there is a no pointer for the record or the key what it has to match it. So similarly for the lookup nth also, to get a value, first it has to be executed any of the function. It may be like lookup or a lookup count or a lookup match. Any of these functions get executed, then you can use lookup nth function. So in this case, second one you want it. So it returns xyz. Is it clear? The lookup functions?
Yeah. Yeah, Venkat.
You, Ravali?
Yes, yes, Venkat.
Okay. So here we have completed all the functions, and the next concept we have is like EME. So do you remember what is an EME? The first time when we discussed as part of the architecture. So EME is an enterprise metadata environment. It's a technical repository.
Venkat,
Yeah.
before that, can you please tell me that how to use this if conditions loops inside the reformat functions?
Uh, we have seen this in normalized, right? The for loops.
Yeah.
It's in the rollup. Do you remember
Okay,
like
the
we
same way.
discussed in
It
the,
is
yeah, same way. It will not change.
no other options. Like, for example, in the only for loop is there. While loop, these are not present.
Cases we use
Simple
for
loops.
loop. While loop means again you have to declare the variables and you have to increment the values. The for loop automatically it will
Mm-hmm.
take care of incrementing the values, and it is so simple to use it. So you
Okay.
most of the cases and most of the people
Simple.
use for loop only.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay,
Anything else,
fine.
Bhagrash?
No.
Okay. And EME is an enterprise metadata environment. It's a technical repository. And why do we require this EME is? So whatever the code you have developed it, whether it's a graph or a DML or XO4 or an SQL or any of the object you require it to run the code, whatever the object you developed, all these objects to be placed in here in the enterprise metadata environment. It's a technical repository. So here all the versions of all the objects will be stored here. So let's say first time I have developed one of the graph. So in my local environment, I will be doing that development. So for this graph, I require some of the DML, some of the SQLs, and some of the XFRs I need it. So I have developed, let's say, 2 SQLs and 4 DMLs and 4 XFRs I have built it, and one graph. Completely it's 11 objects. So all these objects I have checked into the EME. So the check-in option is called as like from our environment to the EME whenever we do a check-in. So the code will be moved from our local environment to the technical repository. So and if anyone wanted to, another developer wanted to use these objects, then he has to check out from EME. So from our local environment to other local environment cannot be moved it. So that's not a good practice at all. So anything if you wanted to any of the object you wanted into your local environment, you have to check out from the repository only. So here we will be performing many operations like source code control, what is like sandbox and a project control, what is a sandbox, and what are projects, and checkout, check-in, locking, version maintenance, and tagging. All these things we can perform it in the EME. So one by one we will discuss it. What is all about this? And here we have like commands as well. So those commands are called it as air commands and M commands. We have it. So first time whenever I'm building the graph, as I said, so those objects will be very new to the environment or to the repository also. So whatever the local environment I'm saying it, that environment we call it as sandbox in Abinitio. So this sandbox we will be having for each of the person who are working for that object and who has a Abinitio license. So this will be created in the Unix directories. So let's say sandbox will be like users, developers. So there will be one directory like this. So sandboxes, and so till here it is common for all the developers. And once inside this sandboxes directory, let's say I have 100 resources in my project. So here 100 directories will be present inside the sandboxes directory. Each of the directory belongs to each of the developer or the person whoever it is working for that project. Let's see how the directory name will be like C O P N K G. So they will be taking Venkat for like this, which shorts with C for all the and surname and then the name. So there could be different formats for this to take the directories. It depends on the project to project how they wanted to create the developer directories. One example I have given you for you. So it will be distinct for all the directory names, and it could be like alphanumeric as well. So let's say this ID belongs to mine. So similarly for each of the developer, they will be giving one IDs for this. So this local environment is called as a sandbox. So here you develop whatever you want it, and here which project you wanted to check out. Projects, then the application name will be there, and group name of that applications, which all applications belongs to one of the group. Then the actual project name. Here the project name, don't think like this the client project what we were doing it for. Let's say we are working for city, so don't think that here the project name will be city. So under city we are working for city project. So the the terminology will be same, the project, but coming to the Abinitio, the projects are very different. So to work for one of the application, let's say I am working for courts application for the city group. So courts is one of the project name, not the city. City is for client. Courts is one application. So this is how the structure will be this there. So this is the complete sandbox path of the application or the project courts. So this is called as a sandbox. Is it clear what is a sandbox and how the path will be there in the real time, and how many sandboxes? You can create n number of sandboxes for one of the projects. So this is a sandbox for course I said. So similar to that, this will not change at any cost. So here directly I may be checking out the code, projects, then it all depends how you are maintaining your sandbox. Directly you can give codes as well. So both the projects are same but different sandboxes. So one project can have n number of sandboxes. Both the sandboxes are belongs to me only, the same user ID. So like this, for each of the user, n number of projects I can check out. So is it clear what is a sandbox and what is the directory structure for each of the developer? You
Yeah.
Bakaras and Lovely, is it clear?
Yeah.
Yes, Venkat.
Okay, so we will discuss more about in detail of the EME in tomorrow's class. We have a class even for tomorrow and day after tomorrow also, the same time. Is it fine?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, tomorrow we will see. Continue to this session. Thank you.
Thank you.